I will live in thy heart, die in thy lap, and be buried in thy eyes. I played Benedict in a limited run of Much Ado. I so relished taking the character from dyed-in-the-wool bachelor to excited bridegroom. I played him rather sweetly, which I think is in keeping with the spirit of Benedict, something that Yank playing him now could learn from. You see, to act, and I mean to really fucking act, you have to be able to answer 3 questions. Number 1, who are you? Number 2, what are you doing? And number 3, what is happening? The ability to answer these questions is what separates craftsmen from talentless, amateur from professional. Reality is not so simple. We do not exist in a 3-act structure, and what is to come is not preordained by some playwright with a moral. Life is full of abstractions, imperfections, and nothing's more imperfect than Inferno. Inferno is a bar. Well, if you could call it a bar. A venue. A club at a push. I like to think of it as a refuge, for a place for all the people your mother warned you about, of which I may be one. In my career, I have played goodies, baddies, noblemen and peasants, but my magnum opus lies within my ambiguity. Told you life wasn't so simple. To describe Inferno is like trying to describe pain to a doctor. It's just something you can't quite pinpoint. However, I was in Inferno last evening, so I'll just recount that. Somewhat of a story, if only it were. The Greys had taken over the asylum. Retro leather type, chains and cigars, you know the sort. I head straight for the toilet and take the only available cubicle. The first key doesn't do much, but oils the gears nonetheless. I ignore the scuffling in the cubicle next to me, tuck the bag under my ballsack, and check for trails around my nostrils. The place is full of the needy, old, and unsightly. I was looking for a diamond and got stuck with the rough. On nights like these, patience is a virtue. Think of it like blackjack. You get dealt a 10, and then you hit. You get given a 6. Ooh, 16. You could stick with that. Maybe the dealer will go bust. Or you could hit, get a 4, maybe even a 5. I found my 16 within the first hour of being there, but I was holding out for that extra 5. He didn't arrive until 3 in the morning. Curtain rises. I buy him a drink. A double can go a long way. He takes a sip, but I could see in his eyes he was on something stronger. We talk, we dance, we talk some more. He asks, "What happens now?" "What do you want to happen?" I say. He wonders if I know somewhere quiet. Cue the fanfare. We find sanctuary in a place where the sheets are clean, the towels are fresh, and the prophylactics are in plentiful supply. The weapons in the armory of any halfway decent pay-by-the-hour hotel. I nod to the proprietor and part ways with a few well-thumbed notes. "Undress," I tell him. I light a cigarette as he removes his belt. I watch and wait. Any second now. When he lifts his shirt up, he drops to the floor. Now it's intermission. Flunitrazepam comes from a class of drug known as benzodiazepine, the street name the forget-me pill. The way it works is it inhibits the nervous system and slows down the brain's activity. Effects rise within about 30 minutes after ingestion, but the peak effect comes at 2 hours. Maybe it's about power. Could be about control. Perhaps it's just how I like to fuck. Call it what you will. They are prettier when they're asleep. Think of it like taxidermy. Taxidermy is about preservation, preserving the creature at its best. The once wild animal under your control, immortalized in your hands. We call it the thermoplastic method of taxidermy. James Dean once said gratification came in the doing, not in the result, which I suppose would apply to whatever you'd call this. Because you have to respect the process, being the iron fist in a velvet glove. I'm nothing if not theatrical. He was a picture. Trousers around his ankles and a mouthful of carpet. I prefer when they land on the bed. The average 20-something male weighs about 12 stone. It may look easy in the movies, but lifting a 12-stone bag of limp flesh is anything but. Thank Christ for those final 2 lines of blood. I feel the track marks as I turn him onto his side. His perfection is somewhat spoiled. But then again, when you stare into the abyss stares back at you. Alarm bells start ringing when I touch his lips. Even when asleep, lips are lubricated, they're warm. He's cold. I look for the rise in his chest, the colour in his complexion. The line between life and death is a hair's breadth. He didn't look any different than the others. Not like this. My little piece of theatre has come apart at the seams. This isn't fiction. A cunt OD'd on me. Who are you? I made peace with rapists long ago, but murderer. No, no. And yet, by definition, what are you doing? I wanted my final breath to be infiltrated with the taste of Marlborough. Mild as May, they used to call it. And I say final breath because what is happening? There's about 8 milligrams of self-inflicted flunitrazepam just catapulting through my system. If 2 milligrams is fatal, then 8 should be a fucking death sentence. Like the asp's word to Cleopatra. I imagine my suicide to be more like Ophelia in Hamlet, surrounded by flowers and her final breath a song. This, however, is more like Hitler's bunker. It's interesting that I reference Shakespeare. James Joyce wrote that Shakespeare was the happy hunting ground for all minds who had lost their balance. I suppose my headshot will now sit between the kindly killer and the Milwaukee cannibal. That's media for you. I think of my apartment being overrun with pigs, my possessions upturned and concealed in evidence bags. Only a few minutes left. You'd think they go quickly, but they don't. So I'm just stuck in limbo. As a reference to the Divine Comedies. Dante's 9 circles of hell. If memory serves, lust is only in the second circle. But I think I'll fall deeper into the fire. The pit of hell is named after Judas. Judaica, I think. A lot of people don't know this, but the center of hell is actually frozen. The lowest, blackest, furthest place from heaven. Well, do I know the way? I don't fear death. I just worry about what comes after. I was always better at playing other people. Playing the bad guy is one thing. Being the bad guy is something else altogether. The curtain call is silent for the sinner. And so I just wait for Virgil. I know I should think about all those other lads, but I don't. I just long for my mother in this, the last stand of all I am. I just want my mother. I just hope she isn't waiting for me.